Yo, Austin Awkward, I'm Adam. What's going on, guys? Hey, so just this last week, the Brexit thing happened, and it got me to thinking about something that happens to me more often than I want to admit. That is, I will be sitting in a room, in a situation, there's a conversation going on, a discussion, a meeting, whatever it is, and I will be thinking of something, making a conclusion about something that I think is completely obvious to me, and it should be obvious to everyone else, and I just think that's the way to go with it. And when I vocalize that, everyone else looks at me, and I realize that what I said, while it made complete sense to me, made zero sense to anyone else, right? And that can be kind of breaks the ego a little bit sometimes. But it got me to thinking about how sometimes, I don't know if it's I think weirdly, or maybe I just never learned how to logically process things the same way that everyone else processes them, so I come to logical conclusions that are a little bit different than other people sometimes. But the Brexit thing came up, and I was like, oh man, Brexit. And everyone's like, oh, it's the end of the world, we're all doomed. And I was like, yeah, right. I mean, I understand the arguments why it's a bad thing, but at the same time, I'm like, but the United States is not part of a union. We put our own trade agreements together, and we are independent in that regard, and it hasn't harmed us too much, I don't think. Maybe if we were part of a bigger, like, Pan-American partnership where everyone was forced to live underneath the governing body of everyone else, then maybe it would be different, maybe better. I don't know, that could be the case. But at any rate, when I was thinking through the impact of Brexit, I just couldn't help thinking that, hey man, part of this is that they're just going to be separate. But that's, like, there's lots of countries that are separate, and they're just fine. And I guess the other part is the European Union is going to impact the European Union. I don't know. But when I say that, I turned out to be the guy who's kind of the weirdo, right? I'm the weirdo, because I'm like, well, this is kind of, and they're like, well, that's not a legitimate answer to that. Now, if you wanted to say that the British people have the right to govern themselves without the influence or input of the European Union, or if you want to say that they should be able to protect their borders from those scary immigrants, that's okay, but you can't. So I get lost. I'm out in this no man's land. It's the same thing with abortion. The Supreme Court made the ruling this week, and I've for a long time been opposed to abortion. I'm pretty dramatically opposed to it. Like I take it pretty far, and that's okay if you disagree with me, because I disagree with you. We can still be friends. But the thing that then I take that to a logical conclusion for me is I'll say, yeah, man. So we definitely, since we're all definitely on board with life being like unique and valuable, and when we talk about this before, it's uniquely valuable, and it's an amazing thing, and we should value it above everything else. We should be opposed to the death penalty, right? And then people look at it, well, I mean, not killing babies, that makes sense, but criminals must pay. And they look at me like, what are you thinking, Adam? Why are you the weirdo? Once again, that's me. I'm the weirdo who thinks about things differently sometimes and comes to conclusions that not everyone else comes to. And it feels lonely, and it feels awkward. And sometimes it makes you second guess things. Sometimes it makes me feel like I need a fight to just prove it to everyone else I'm right. So I don't know. It's a two-edged sword. When you're second-guessing yourself, it's not a good thing. But when you're fighting to prove that your crazy logic might just be might be valid, that's not such a bad thing. So, with all that said, the next time we're all coming to a conclusion about something like where to eat pizza or whatever, and I come up with some ridiculous off-the-wall response, I just apologize in advance. Hopefully you'll be willing to put up with me, and we can still be friends. I'll talk to you next time.